The theory that the Israeli government did it on purpose and there was a stand-down order across the board so that Hamas could come in and massacre these Israeli citizens, and then Israel would have the excuse to go commit genocide to the Palestinians.
That is horrifying thinking at every level.
It's come up every time I've showed it.
We're back in a different Israel, an Israel that's processing what's just happened and where are we going next. That's a great topic to discuss with my guest tonight. Todd Morehead is the producer and the host of a really fascinating film about October 7th, bearing witness to the massacre that happened that day. There needed to be a film by a team of evangelical Christians to show not only what happened, and they use some footage that was previously classified, now is being allowed to be used publicly, but they also put it into context. Why did October 7th happen? Where did this all come from? And what they, well, let's just get into it with Todd Morehead. He's here in Israel. He's got a tour, maybe your first, I would guess your first tour since October 7th.
I
so over these 2 years.
Canceled all my other ones. Yes, this is my first tour back here, and it's really good to be back.
It's great to have you, and it's great to see you. Look, this film is fantastic, and I talked to you on our Inside the Epicenter podcast about it. The reason I think it's so important is because you don't try to go tell the whole history of the Middle East. You don't try to talk about the war. You're just trying to help people understand what really happened that day. Yes, what led up to it, but you don't try to tell the last 2 years. You try to tell the story of that day, and you do it so well. Why did you, I want to talk to you about a lot of different things on this show, but why did you narrow yourself to just telling the story of October 7th?
Well, we knew. We were right in the middle of actually creating a docuseries, and it was like 30-something days after the first episode came out, October 7th happened, and we knew that it was going to change the Jewish world, certainly, Israel certainly, and the world. And we also were well aware of Holocaust denial for over the years, and we knew that this event needed to be documented, and documented really well in the context in which it happened, and so that we could truly bear witness to the atrocities of that day.
I think you've done it so well.
Thank you.
And we're going to show a clip in the next block of the show after the commercial break, and we're going to show people where they can watch it. So we'll get into that. But your emotions, I'm just curious your take on just being back here in the land, and you got here as all the hostages were being released, the President of the United States coming, not just here, but going to Egypt to try to move the peace process forward. So I'm just curious, Todd, you love this land, you love this region, and you love both sides, Israelis and Palestinians and other Arabs in the region. What's your, what are you thinking? What are you feeling?
I was so blown away that the hostages were all released. I thought it would never happen. Everybody I listened to said it will never happen because that's Hamas's only leverage, and it happened. And when Israel started to celebrate, and I quickly realized and told my group we are going to a different Israel than what we anticipated, a much better Israel, Israel that has gone from 2 years of mourning and sadness to elation that 20 living hostages have been released. So just very excited to be back in the land.
It's a miracle. You just said that. I don't know anybody that had a level of confidence that the hostages would come out. And even Christians who we're praying. It's a little bit like praying for Peter to get out of prison. And when he knocks on the door,
you don't believe it.
You're telling the servant girl, hey, we're trying to have a prayer meeting because we're trying to pray for Peter to come out of prison. So just don't bother us right now. I mean, that's it's a kind of a funny concept, but we were praying, but it's hard to believe that these monsters would let these out. I think God forced them to release. I think he terrorized the terrorists to let everybody out. But it is an extraordinary set of events over the last few weeks.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
What is your group? How are they processing? Have they been here before?
Well, no, it's a first time for every single one of them, so they don't know what to compare it to. Okay. Although, I did brief them about Israel, and the trip was really tentative all the way up until a couple months ago, and then it was go time.
Right now, as war ends, we pray, right? We think that's happening. Many Christians are asking, so what do we do now? How can we continue to bless Israel, especially as the nation begins to rebuild? Well, Scripture gives us the answer in Genesis 12:3. I will bless those who bless Israel. And today, that calling matters more than ever. After years of hardship, Israel is entering a season of renewal. Families are rebuilding, small businesses are reopening, and communities from the Galilee to the Negev are coming back to life. And that's where Artza comes in. Artza is a beautiful subscription box that brings the Holy Land straight into your home, filled with handmade foods, crafts, and treasures created by small family artisans all across Israel. Each item tells a story of faith, beauty, and restoration. By subscribing, you're not only receiving something meaningful, you're directly blessing the people of Israel and helping their communities thrive again. This Christmas, bless Israel in a tangible way. Visit artsabox.com and use my code RR15 for 15% off. Lynn and I love Artza, and I know you will too. Bless Israel, experience the land, be part of its renewal with Artza. There has been so much on social media and in the media by people who are like, it didn't really happen, it really wasn't so bad, it wasn't, it's all getting blown out of proportion. The Israelis set it into motion on their own. Israel's just using it as an excuse to go commit genocide in Gaza. Like, there have been so many attacks against Israel as Israel has tried to defend itself against this horrific invasion by a genocidal, terrorist organization. The Hamas terrorist organization says in its 1988 charter, we intend to destroy Israel. So Todd Morehead is the producer and the host of this film. Todd, what kind of reaction are you getting already? It just released, of course, I think October 3rd. But even in recent weeks, with all the attention on the release of the hostages and everything else, what kind of response are you getting?
Yeah, we've been screening it all over the nation, over the U.S., and the one reaction is, well, I didn't realize it was that bad. People, even people who had followed it, and they thought they were kind of connected to the story, once they see the events of that day, they are chilled, for one, horrified, and it's like something that they didn't realize could actually happen.
Because most of the images people have gotten over the last 2 years on the news is the Israeli fighting against Gaza and the flattening of Gaza. I've been in Gaza during this war with the IDF for TBN and All Israel News, and it's an apocalyptic wasteland. It really is. There's a reason for that. Every home Hamas was using to attack. Every home had weapons, booby traps, missiles. It was just, and not just every home, every mosque, every school, every hospital. So Israel had to attack and destroy so much, and this is what's so tragic. But it is interesting, right? After 2 years, you're getting this reaction that, like, I didn't know. And that's of people who, I'm guessing the people who come and see it, when you show it, aren't hostile to Israel, but they don't know.
Right, they don't know. And those who, formerly were hostile or were really curious about what Israel's, are they committing genocide? They're hearing all these things. I think it's helped them put things into context, and it's helped because we give enough backstory to who Hamas is, their radical, what radical Islam is,
right.
What does Hamas believe, what are their ideologies, what do they teach their kids from infanthood, and then it begins to make sense. By the time you see the events of October 7th, you kind of have a file, folders to file things.
Yeah.
So
I think that's one of the things I thought there's two things I thought were great about this film. Aside from the timeliness of it. The first thing was that you do give context, and the film is actually not super fast paced. You kind of pace it in a way that I'm learning facts, I'm seeing these images, but you're taking me on a journey. You personally are sort of taking me, I want to go talk to this person, I want to go see this, I want to find out what, and so it allows you to absorb hard information. And you have time to do it. The film is, I think, 1 hour and 50. But the other thing that's great about it is you do give just enough actual GoPro footage and CCTV footage of what really happened. And yet, I have seen the 45-minute classified version several times, and I brought evangelical groups to the Israeli embassy and other places at the request of the Israeli government so that the evangelical influencers could see it. And that's much worse.
Right.
And I think you found a way to give people a sense of how horrible it was without creating a snuff film or without creating something that you couldn't watch, at least with maybe older teenagers. I would encourage you be cautious as a parent or grandparent. See it first before you show it to anybody under 18. But it can be, I think.
Yeah, we have such a great team. Jesse Schlentz was the director and editor. He also did the Hope in the Holy Land film, which was released in 2021. Amazing. And Justin Crone, who is a producer and creator with me. And together, I think we made a film that we tried to show what happened without showing all that happened, right?
Right. But I think you show enough that, as you say, people are, I didn't realize this.
Yeah, you get the picture.
Let's take a moment and watch. We got almost a 3 minute, it's sort of an extended trailer with a series of clips. Very important. Take a look.
Hamas, it's an Islamist jihadist movement that is not a national movement for the liberation of Palestine, but actually a religious movement that is seeking to establish an Islamic state in the Middle East and in the entire world.
We see messages calling for holy war against Israel.
Gaza, this is the weaponization of an entire urban landscape for the purpose of waging war.
That's the Gaza border. Most of the Hamas come here.
And those Hamas operatives are trying to break through
that fence and get to the kibbutzim and kill people. This border is not going to be penetrated.
October 7th, the nation woke up to a nightmare.
Exactly what Israel had promised Israelis would never happen to them, happened to them.
أنا كتبت منهم 3 وهرجع تاني.
The events of October 7th, 2023, sent a shockwave across the world. But most people still don't have a clear picture of what happened, or why. I came here to see, to listen, and to share the stories of many who lived through the darkest day in Israel's history.
The film is so important, and especially right now. But it's important that people don't just see it. It really is important that they share it and that they find. I think also people need to talk about it. How have these screenings been going? In other words, what's the role of not just seeing a film, but having an environment which you can process it with other people?
It's a great opportunity for pastors to screen it and then to do a short Q&A, because Christians have so many questions right now, and they're not getting the answers they need. So, I screened it just a couple weeks ago, and people would come up to me and just in tears, or ask me a question about replacement theology. There's a lot of replacement theology stuff going on right now, and they're confused, and they need to be shepherded in God's heart for Israel and God's heart for the nations.
What are some of the questions that you're hearing again and again that come out of watching the film?
Oh, one question that we hear over and over again is kind of the one that the theory that the Israeli government did it on purpose and there was a stand down order across the board so that Hamas could come in and massacre these Israeli citizens, and then Israel would have the excuse to go commit genocide to the Palestinians.
That is horrifying thinking at every level.
It's come up every time I've showed it.
Is that right?
Yes.
And how do you answer it?
It's very logical. There was no stand down order. Some IDF were in certain kibbutz right away fighting. The first to be attacked was the base right next to Gaza. They were dead. And then it was a holiday, right? So 90% of the military is gone. So there's some very logical reasons.
Yeah, it is astonishing. I think and unfortunately, it does play into conspiracy thinking because it's still astonishing. No Israeli can understand how that border was so lightly defended on that day. But sometimes there's incompetence. Sometimes there's bad decision making, and of course there was this whole view, which was true, that Israel was making peace with 4 of its major Arab partners, the Abraham Accords, and was this close, right, to making peace with the Saudis. So there was a real sense that we're moving past terrorism into this whole new era. Yeah. But there's also a reckoning that has to happen. There has to be a state inquiry here in Israel to say what really happened. But it wasn't that Israel was looking for an opportunity.
Right.
If Netanyahu wanted an opportunity to go into Gaza, Hamas had given them 15 years worth of opportunities. Netanyahu didn't want to go into Gaza. He was doing everything he could to bomb here and there, but not invade because he thought that was a distraction from dealing with Iran and Hezbollah, which he really believed were the larger fish to fry, as he called it. And he wasn't wrong. He just let himself get blindsided by an attack he didn't see coming. Well, Todd, thank you. You documented this so well, and I think it's so important for Christians to see it, your film, and to process it and to find ways to have this discussion and show it to others. So we're praying for you. And again, where can people go see it?
October7film.com.